If you're stuck in habits that feel very hard to break, especially around your eating behaviours, emotional eating, binge eating and disordered eating behaviours, stay with me because I'm going to be explaining how, by understanding your habit loops and your behaviour patterns, you can start to build lasting change. Habits are essentially the foundation to everything in our daily life, and they're there really to help our brain conserve energy so that it doesn't have to waste time on thinking about certain things. And they can be really useful things, can't they? Sometimes they can be a blessing, but at other times they can be very problematic. And certainly one of the things that I'm often talking about with my clients is how to break those unhelpful habits and build new ones. Now, it's important to understand that the ones that do align with our goals are very useful, but it's where those ones that are particularly not aligning with what we want to do can feel like absolutely impossible to break. But the good news is that you can break them and you can create new habits. And I talk about this in my new book that is out now. I've got here the prototype book, but I'm so pleased to be able to tell you that it's out. And I just want to show you something about the journey. One of my images here in the book, you probably can't see, it might look a little bit back to front for you, but essentially it's about the healing journey. And you'll see that actually people think that this is how it goes on your journey, but really it's normal to feel a bit messy. You do progress. The journey is not linear, but you're always progressing. And that's something really important to remember as well when you're changing your habits. And one of the things that I like to work on with my clients, and that I've talked about a lot in the book to help you untangle these habits, is looking at the habit cycle. So there will always be a trigger that you need to identify. So what is the trigger? Think about whether it could be that you've had a really difficult emotional time with something's happened that's really stressed you out, you've had a difficult conversation with somebody, it could be so many things. But it's important to identify the trigger, and often there'll be different triggers. But for many people, a similar trigger happens a lot. So you'll be able to identify a common trigger that happens. It's then important to try and identify the routine. So what do you routinely do? And when it comes to emotional eating, binge eating, when you've been triggered, then it might be that you stopping off at the supermarket to buy some chocolate or to buy some binge foods. Think about what you routinely do after you've been triggered at that point. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with stopping off and buying chocolate, but it's just thinking about a habit that causes you perhaps distress, perhaps is getting in the way of your goals. And then think about the reward that happens afterwards. Now, it's all about understanding essentially your need. Is it comfort? What is it giving you? Is it soothing you by using food to be able to help you with those stressful events, with that trigger? So by understanding the cycle that you're in, you can then decide how you're going to break it. And I explain all of that in my book here, but I'll show you the cycle actually in the book. So you can see here, this is the cycle that goes on, and I explain how you break that down in the book. It teaches you how to break down and really understand and identify those habits. And then it teaches you how you can break that cycle. And that's really key. And there's different ways of breaking that cycle. Some of the key things to remember while you're doing this is that it's always about small, consistent changes, and not trying to overhaul everything all at once, not trying to change a million habits at once, step by step by step. That's so important. And that's what leads to consistency. It leads to long-term change. Understand also that lapses are part of the process. As I showed you in the healing journey, you can see that there are lapses, and that's how you grow, that's how you learn, that's how you move forward. So try and be compassionate with yourself and remind yourself that is part of your journey. The other thing to do that's so important is banking your wins. So notice any small wins, no matter how small, and bank them, note them down, write them down, and that will keep you motivated and help you to continue towards your goals and help you continue to create change in your life. So part of this process is also understanding particularly any emotional triggers, and that's something I really delve deeply in the book here, and it gives you ways to recognize those triggers, how to build different coping mechanisms that can be more helpful, and also a toolkit for self-soothing, so that you can alternative solutions to soothe yourself to help manage difficult times and emotions. So yeah, I'm so excited. As I said, I think you'll find the book really helpful if this is something you've been struggling with. I've had amazing feedback from professionals in the field and from women's health experts and campaigners. So yeah, I'm really excited to get it out there. Have a think about your particular habit cycle and feel free to let me know if you've come up with one of yours.